Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch. Proposed restrictions put a curfew on novice drivers.
That's pretty ridiculous. If there's nothing wrong with you, why wouldn't you be able to drive to go pick up your friends?
Edmonton parents are given the choice between technology and tradition when it comes to education.
You just have to find the program that you feel best fits what you would like for your child.
TELUS World of Science visits the dark side.
I'm thrilled to be sharing the stage with Darth Vader. Wait till I tell my children.
NAIT NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening. The Alberta government is looking to place more restriction on new drivers.
These new restrictions would take place in the first 6 months of a driver obtaining their graduated driver's license.
A curfew between midnight and 5 a.m. already exists for those with a learner's permit, but this new regulation would have that curfew also applied to new GDL drivers. 26-year-old Sean Bedard got his license on November 8th and wonders if this would not allow him to potentially act as a designated driver.
Things like not being allowed to pick up your friends and stuff, or when you don't have any alcohol in your system and you just want to be there for somebody. I mean, that really sucks.
The government of Alberta says that between 12 to 5 a.m., a very high number of accidents take place for new drivers.
And those levels are astronomical in the first 6 months, and so we felt it was very important to address that.
The majority of impaired driving crashes occur between 1 and 3 a.m. So now if we can take those drivers who are inexperienced on the road and with hazards with driving and get them safe, we're going to seriously save lives out there.
Critics say they also support any law that makes our roads safer, although they say they are concerned about the possible restriction on potential designated drivers.
You know, the police will be busy stopping all these good, drivers maybe, at night between 12 and 5, and the guys who are really drunk, they will be running around rampant, right?
Along with the curfew, the proposed regulation would also have novice drivers limited to one teenage passenger unless it's with a family member or a fully licensed adult is supervising. The government is trying to close loopholes. New drivers that work late may be able to opt out of the curfew. Sean Bedard hopes that potential new designated drivers won't be punished for trying to do a good thing.
It's unfair for me, it's also unfair for my friends.
Alberta is getting tougher on those who choose to drink and drive. Tougher sanctions may soon be in place for drivers with a blood alcohol content between 0.05 and 0.08. On the first offense, the driver will face a 3-day license suspension and a 3-day vehicle seizure, with the punishments getting harsher after each repeated offense. Layla Mulder of Mad Edmonton says that this will make Edmonton streets safer.
You are slowing down in your reaction times, your coordination is off, your motor movements aren't quite as fine-tuned, so there is a reaction. It's a definite need that we need to pull drivers off the road at the 0.05 level.
Drivers with a blood alcohol content over 0.08 will now lose their driver's license until the case is resolved in court.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch.
An Edmonton school is taking a different approach to education.
The Waldorf teaching style uses a technology-free teaching environment with students. Our Stephen Dyer joins us live from our news center with more on that story.
Waldorf schools have been around for years, but it wasn't until just recently that a Waldorf program started being offered through the Edmonton Public Schools.
Technology is constantly evolving, and teachers now have included high-tech equipment into lessons. The Waldorf program at Avonmore, however, teaches students with minimal to no technology in the classroom. The Waldorf program teaches students to be more hands-on with problems and more creative with finding the solution. Cor Berveld is a parent whose child is in the Waldorf program who believes in what Waldorf can offer.
When you let children play, when you let them use their imagination, when you facilitate creative options of expression through arts, they really thrive, they enjoy learning.
The goal behind Waldorf education is to encourage kids to think outside the box and to approach problems from different angles.
They're not necessarily always encouraged to explore an issue from different sides, and Waldorf is a method that really tries to do that.
Programs like the Waldorf program have taken technology completely out of their classes, but there are some schools like Riverdale that have integrated technology directly into their curriculum.
Well, technology is something that's everywhere in their world, and it's something that they need to learn how to use and manipulate. Also, it kind of levels the playing field. It allows for more, for me to kind of adapt
the lessons adapt what they're using on the iPad by the ability level of each of the children.
Both schools may have opposing views on their teaching methods, but they also agree that there are positive benefits in each method.
There's always benefits. In every type of education, there's always something positive and always something good. You just have to find the program that you feel best fits what you would like for your child.
With the more traditional hands-on method, Waldorf teaches kids to be more reliant on what they can do themselves, kind of like when our parents or our grandparents were in school.
So Stephen, how popular is the Waldorf program right now?
Well, the Waldorf program is in its 3rd year now, and the demand for it isn't huge yet, but the parent council that runs the program is still advertising it, and they are increasing in popularity.
So then are more schools in the Edmonton area thinking of integrating more technology like Riverdale has?
Well, because of the cost of technology, not all schools can upgrade their technology right away, but there are some schools that have upgraded theirs to be on par with Riverdale.
Thanks, Stephen. That's Stephen Dyer reporting live from our news center tonight.
Police followed up on a complaint by Melcor and began to dismantle the Occupy Edmonton site early Friday morning. Earlier this week, the Occupy Edmonton group made a list of what it is they would have liked to have seen before they would consider leaving the property. They made 8 different demands, including free post-secondary education, free pharmacare, and the end of corporate influence in the democratic process. Melcor's president said that the demands were out of his hands and the request for the eviction is out of the concern for the health of the protesters.
Canadian shopaholics have found a new reason to spend as an American trend makes its way north. Black Friday is the biggest American shopping day of the year, with people lining up a day early to take advantage of sales. Many Canadian retailers are joining the trend, and this week shoppers saw more big savings in late November. Marketing veteran Surjit Rai believes that companies are doing this in an attempt to keep Canadian shoppers at home.
Retailers have been forced into doing this. I mean, if you go to BC or Ontario, a lot of those customers were driving down to the United States there and getting deals. So I think it's a move by retailers to keep that money in Canada.
While Black Friday is catching on, Rai says that the big savings will still be found on Boxing Day.
The Bank of Canada introduced its new polymer banknote last week, and it's getting mixed reviews. Seeing it for the first time, some saw them as much more secure.
I think with the plastic polymer type thing, it'll just be that much easier.
See-through.
Others thought it looked like play money.
They're all right. They kind of look like a game, it'd be in a game. That's what I think.
The new polymer bills are said to last 2.5 times longer and will be much more difficult to counterfeit. All dollar bills will be polymer by late 2013.
Razors will be flying off the shelves in just a few days, with November coming to a close. Grant MacEwan University held its wrap-up this weekend, complete with music, prizes, and a montage of famous mustaches. Students were just some of thousands of men across the world raising money for prostate cancer research.
Well, it's a big thing that affects male health, you know. It's like women have breast cancer, male have prostate cancer. It's a big deal, and people need to get aware, and anything you can do to help out a great cause like that, I think why not jump all over the opportunity.
With $72 million raised last year and almost 500,000 participants globally, Movember is the biggest fundraiser for prostate cancer research. Canada was #1 in donations last year and is leading once again.
So Canada, we got a couple tricks up our sleeves. So yeah, we show them, and I'm pretty proud.
Donations can be made at ca.movember.com.
No longer in a galaxy far, far away, the world of Star Wars is coming to Edmonton. Chosen as one of only 2 cities in North America, Edmonton will host the Star Wars Identities exhibit. Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers were at the TELUS World of Science on Tuesday for the big announcement. The event is expected to bring record-breaking attendance and draw tourists from around the world.
I grew up with Star Wars. It's generational, it's global, it has such great recognition, and to have landed this here in Edmonton is absolutely so exciting.
Star Wars Identity is an inside look into the world that fans have grown to love. A new pavilion will be built to house the exhibit, which is set to open October 2012. Coming up after the break, we take a look at ways you can make winter driving safer.
and how it's in your best interest to be prepared.
You never know here when it's going to snow.
We talked to the Eskimos to see if they'll be tuning in to the Grey Cup.
I don't know if I'll, sit down and watch opening kickoff, but I'll definitely peek at it.
Coming up after the break, I used my new karate moves to beat Bob in this week's End Zone Challenge.
Welcome back. Edmontonians have been lucky enough to be enjoying some warmer weather these last few days. Eve Custer is outside with weather.
So Eve, we've been so lucky. The weather's been beautiful. What is the trend looking like for this week?
This upcoming week is supposed to be pretty mild, just around the freezing mark, which is above average for this time of year normally. All right, so let's take a look at the boards for tomorrow's weather forecast. In Calgary, it's going to be cloudy with wind and a low of -1 and a high of 9 with 40% chance of snow or rain. Jasper will have a low of -5 and high of -2. Now, a low pressure front will be passing through, bringing cold weather in the morning and then warming up later on for a chance of wet flurries. In Fort McMurray, we'll see a low of -5 and a high of 3. It may be cloudy throughout the day with 30% chance of precipitation. Here in Edmonton, it will be a low of -2 and a high of 5 degrees. The same low pressure front hitting Jasper is also coming through to Edmonton, so the day will start out cold and then end a little warmer. The average temperatures for this time of year are a low of -11 and a high of -3. The record temperature was set for -42 in 1883 for the low, and the high was 12 in 2002.
Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
And that's what it's going to be looking like. So the weather isn't frightful. It's actually going to be quite delightful this upcoming week.
Well, I am so glad it is not 1883 right now.
I know, I don't even know what I would do if it was -42 outside. Thanks, Eve. Winter driving conditions can be a problem for many Edmonton drivers.
Preparation is key when it comes to being safe on the roads this winter. Aaron Bazovi has more on this story.
You should always have mittens in your car. Mittens, heating pads, blankets. It's very cold in Edmonton. You gotta be prepared.
With the beautiful scenery that winter brings also comes winter driving conditions. In order to stay safe on the roads, an important thing to have on your car is winter tires.
Winter tires are specific design for winter. We usually recommend getting them done before the snow falls. It's not going to hurt you to drive around for a month before to a month after winter.
Every driver should also have a safety kit in their car, just in case you get stranded on the side of the road.
And I also should have put sandbags in the back of my truck to weigh it down a little bit. I mean, I only got a 2-wheel drive truck, and it's got no weight back there, so anytime there's ice or anything on the road, I just slip right through everything.
And make sure your cell phone is always fully charged in case of emergency.
The cell phone would be nice to contact somebody, just to tell them to let you know that you're standing on the side of the road, or to contact even the emergency services.
Remote car starters are not a necessity, and leaving your car idling can be bad for your engine.
Car only needs about a minute to warm up to drive away. It's actually harder on the engine if it sits idling for any length of time in the winter.
Be sure to also get your car routine maintenance to prevent any breakdowns in cold weather.
Alberta weather can change in an instant, especially during the winter months, so you should always be prepared for the unexpected. Aaron Bazovi, NAIT NewsWatch.
So the Grey Cup is coming up this weekend in Vancouver.
It's unfortunate Edmonton won't be there. They weren't able to beat BC in Vancouver last week in the Western Final.
Yeah, we won't be seeing the Esks on the field in Vancouver this weekend. However, from what I've been hearing, it's not going to stop Edmontonians from tuning in to watch the game. That and more coming up in sports. Although the Green and Gold may not be playing in the final game of the CFL season this year, Edmontonians still seem to be gearing up to watch. At Jersey City in Kingsway Garden Mall, they are virtually sold out of BC and Winnipeg jerseys. They've had too many requests to meet demand.
After the playoff game, yes. And unfortunately, we've been getting them in as quickly as we've been selling them.
Owner of Farley Travel in St. Albert says it also hasn't deterred people from booking trips to the Grey Cup game.
But most of the people, and we've been doing this since 1978, most of the people have made up their plans. They want to go out and enjoy the weekend, the Vancouver weather.
Eskimos running back Calvin McCarty says although he may not be watching the entire game, he is still making his pick.
That's my pick to win the Grey Cup since, they've had their fair share of victories against us this year, and I think that, playing against both opponents, I think BC overall is a better team.
To check out the game, tune in Sunday at 4 p.m. The men's Ooks hockey team was looking to continue their November winning streak last weekend against Portage College Voyageurs. The Ooks now in their home whites. Reed scoops around Jakubicki only to shoot, and it's wide. Williger tries to resurrect the goal opportunity with a hard slap shot. It too goes wide. Ooks would win the puck off the face-off. Boomer circles around the back of the net, passing to Pratt, who then passes to Prochaska. Prochaska slides it over to Boomer, who guides it right past Birch and into the net, putting the Ooks on the board at 1-0. Later on in the first, the Voyageurs would win the face-off in their own zone, but Marsh would steal it away, only to be regained by the Voyageurs. Desjardins would take control of the puck deep into the Ooks zone, passing to Usiski, who would fire it past Zabados, tying up the game at 1-1. Second period now. There was a lot of back and forth when Ooks finally got a scoring opportunity late into the period with a power play, only to be shut out. On to the third now. Coach Lajoie must have lit a fire underneath his players in the locker room because the Ooks came back skating hard and playing smart. After only a minute 30 into the third, the Ooks were deep into the Voyager zone. Boomer would plow over Birch, only to regain control of the puck and pass to Pratt, who would fire it in top shelf, making the score 2-1 Ooks. Boomer would then go on to score 2 more late in the third, making the final score 4-1 Ooks. As regular league play begins to wind down for the holiday season, we talk to Ooks players and coaches to see what the players will be doing to keep in shape this winter break. Andy Williger is the defenseman for Ooks hockey. Williger says the break is well-deserved after such a strenuous season.
Everybody looks forward to the break. Obviously, it's a long season, so it's nice, but we're lucky to have the rink here on campus, so most guys are able to get on the ice.
Practices are scheduled into the second week in December. Players are then on break until January 11th.
It's an opportunity to spend time with fans and family, and we're going to encourage that, but also encourage that they slip in some workouts here and there.
Women's volleyball will also be breaking, returning for training with the U of A on the 29th. The coach jokes about the temptations the holidays can bring.
I want them to be able to come back December 29th, not having eaten too much turkey and too many sweets, right?
Coach Russo Thorpe also says she will push for the girls to keep up with their training because warming back up to a season once they are back is a luxury they won't be able to afford. This week, I was invited to attend a class at the Bushido Karate Association's dojo to learn some moves from a 5th degree black belt. When I arrived at the dojo, instructor James Freeman started me out with some strength training exercises to get warmed up. James says this is a typical way to start a class, and it contributes a lot to the overall skill of an individual in karate.
A good posture and balance is important to the ability to deliver power and to throw with force.
We did a variety of different exercises designed to work all parts of the body in balance. After I was all warmed up, James taught me a couple of basic karate techniques used to fight off an opponent. The first move he showed me was the knee strike, used to hit the lower half of a body. The next move was what I like to call the hammer smash.
How you can use your elbow and just really the length of your arm like a baseball bat to strike high.
I also learned how to do a type of kick, which is basically just an extension of the knee strike, except you extend your leg fully out, striking your assailant with the ball of your foot. After that, it was time to practice using my new skills.
And we've got a variety of tools that we use. We use the striking shields, we use the focus mitts, we use the bobs. Right now we're using each other.
At the end of the class, the students did some stretching to warm down.
Typically when you're doing a stretching, you should hold a position for at least 20 seconds, if not longer.
James says this gives enough time for the muscle to accommodate for the position, making the stretch most effective. Although I wasn't advanced enough yet to be able to spar a live partner, I was able to use the moves I learned on a training dummy called Bob. I asked James to go first and demonstrate what a skilled black belt is able to accomplish after many years of training. Then it was my turn. Well, it looks like I would have to put in many years of hard training to even come close to being a worthy sparring opponent, and that's this week's End Zone Challenge.
Nicole, remind me to never try and challenge you to a karate match.
Well, I don't know how good I am. I only took one class, Spencer.
I don't know, Nicole. I think you could take them.
Well, thanks, Laura. I really appreciate that. I had a lot of fun visiting the Bushido Karate Studio and being able to train with them. It was a great opportunity.
Great. Thanks, Nicole. Coming up after the break, the Food Bank Stuff-A-Bus campaign kicks off.
So we dropped by to make a donation.
This year's goal is to feed 500 families for 1 month.
Coming up in entertainment, I found out which animal is currently calling North Pole Place home.
This is NAIT NewsWatch.
The holiday season is less than a month away, and the Edmonton Food Bank is gearing up for its busiest season.
An ETS bus was parked outside Save on Foods to start the organization's biggest food drive. Edmonton Transit and the Food Bank pair up once again for the Stuff-A-Bus campaign. Spencer and I head down to the Save on Foods to help kick off the event and make one of the first donations. Organizers have their sights set high this year, hoping to feed 500 families for at least 1 month.
Could you end up using the food bank? You don't know what type of situation you're in, and some of these stories on the food bank's website proves that, right? It's people, it's some families that, they get into a situation and they can't afford food for whatever reason, and they rely on the food bank.
Kids from Virginia Park School were on hand to sing for the crowd and present the food bank with a generous donation.
So then we're all in agreement. Helping out our community is a good thing to do then, right guys? Yeah! Really good. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks guys.
You can make your Stuff-A-Bus donations December 1st to 3rd at Save on Foods locations across the city.
Our entertainment reporter Natasha seems to have a star-themed week lined up.
Natasha scored an interview with a now famous local singer and features a pop culture icon in her movie preview. All that and more coming up right now in entertainment.
Canadian singer Creisha Turner was back in the City of Champions to celebrate the release of her new album. Called Tropic Electric, the album infuses both pop and reggae to create a sound that stands out in the top 40 music market.
So I took what pop is now, the electric, the David Guetta sound, dance music, and for the first time I feel like I have a product to present to, the first underground fans I ever had, and then also the fans that I gained for my first album, Passion.
Turner's unique appeal has given her the chance to perform with the likes of Katy Perry and music legend Shirley Bassey. And the perks of being a successful recording artist aren't too shabby either.
I've been spoiled. I've been to New York Fashion Week. I was at Toronto Fashion Week. I actually got to walk in the Red Dress Heart and Stroke Foundation. Thank you.
Turner is currently on a promo tour with plans on visiting Ottawa and Toronto in the coming weeks. The holiday season is in full swing, with African penguins joining a famous visitor at Westminster Mall on the weekend. While kids got to visit Santa at North Pole Place, the adorable penguins were also on hand to boost the Christmas spirit. Needless to say, the kids loved it.
I like how they're fluffy and I like their little feet.
How much do you like penguins?
A lot.
Guests can visit Santa and the penguins every Saturday until Christmas. The Veselka Ukrainian Dance Association held a one-time performance for a lucky audience. With just hours to go before the show, anticipation was in the air as the dancers had their dress rehearsal. What makes this dance group unique from others is that it's comprised of both advanced and amateur dancers. Amidst hectic dance numbers and costume changes, performer Lisa Bainham revealed what she hopes the audience will get out of this performance.
I hope they enjoy the costumes, enjoy all the footwork, and enjoy all the work that's gone into it, because there's been a lot of work, and I hope they feel the energy from our show.
Dance members hope that with the success of this show, more performances will be added in the coming weeks. A new film that's getting a lot of buzz is about the most famous blonde in history, Marilyn Monroe.
Gentlemen, it is my special pleasure to introduce a woman who clearly needs no introduction.
My Week with Marilyn stars Michelle Williams as an icon who captivated the world in the 50s.
Nothing in bed but perfume. Darling, as I'm in England, let's say I sleep in nothing but Yardley's lavender.
The film takes place in England, on the set of her movie, The Prince and the Showgirl. This is where production assistant Colin Clark meets Marilyn for the first time.
Excuse my horrible face.
Based off of Clark's published diary accounts, the film chronicles his private week with the star.
Be careful not to get in too deep, son.
He soon finds out there's more to Marilyn than meets the eye.
Marilyn knows exactly what she's doing.
He discovers the burdens of a seemingly perfect woman living the stereotypical Hollywood life.
You could quit this. Forget Marilyn Monroe. Forget Hollywood. But let it all go.
With the evolution of technology comes the evolution of the argument. This week's viral video pokes fun at how technology can sometimes make or break a relationship.
Tell my wife I'm going to be 30 minutes late.
Tell my husband I'm not surprised.
Tell my wife that if watching Ellen is a job, she should get a promotion.
Message from your husband. I appreciate you.
What did he actually say?
Please don't drag me into this.
She can't even get around to washing his overalls.
Ask my husband what he means by that.
Tell my wife I think she knows.
Hey, look. I googled anger management techniques.
Tell my husband, how dare he?
Tell my wife that's not an answer.
Searching for a place to hide.
Say goodbye to the most amazing.
If there is a viral video you'd like to see on the show, post a link on our Facebook wall at facebook.com/NAIT NewsWatch. That's everything for entertainment this week. Back to Laura and Spencer.
You know, that viral video is going to make me think twice before I get an iPhone.
Well, that's it for our show. You can check us out online at naitnewswatch.ca. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
We'll see you again next weekend. Bye.